the 06. Buddy Vertrees in the 41 and Raymond Johnson in car number 0. Danny Skaggs in car number 6 and Danny Blackwell in the X77. The X16 of Roger Vincent and Dennis Knoll in car number 38. The number X55 of Jack Mann and Bobby Johnson in the 00. The number 86 is Jeff Roberts. The number X2 of Buck Skaggs, Chuck Barnes in the X5, Tony Anderson in the X42. It's Calvin Crane in car number 85, the number 1 of John Basham, Pat Pierce in the number 59, and tonight's current point leader in the AutoWorks Figure 8 division, Tony Happen. And the green flag is out and we're racing. Into turns 1 and 2. Artie Ware in the X44 and Jim Berry go door handle to door handle out of turn 2 and down through the intersection. Tom Winters in the X88 comes up, takes over the number 3 spot. Lee Mann goes 4th. At 5th, it's Charlie Hartz. Hartz now challenged by the X14 of Larry Holbert as they whip out of turn 4. Timmy Blackwell connecting with Roger Vincent. Harold Murphy on a spin on the front straightaway. And the X5 of Chuck Barnes climbs from his sportsman machine and gets in the middle of a hornet's nest. Going into turns 1 and 2, the X38 of Dennis Knowles whips around. Your leader is the X51 of Jim Berry as the field heads over to turn 4. Out of turn number 4, Dennis Knowles sneaks by the intersection in front of Jim Berry. Artie Ware in the X44 in there at second as the caution flag comes out. The number X88 of Tom Winters nails down the 3rd place order, and then the X14 of Larry Holbert and Lee Mann.
Actually gets about a half length, but Jim Berry trying to get, and they will indeed get the green flag, and Artie Ware able to get a much better start off of Jim Berry, and now a couple of cars carry very high. Lee Mann and Buddy Vertrees got way out wide. Oh, Buddy Vertrees gets a whole bunch of, I believe, Raymond Johnson, and he'll pull it off to the back straightaway. Buddy almost got airborne. Buck Skaggs is doing a pirouette and now a complete donut around the infield, and will try to get back on the tail of the lap. The leader is Artie Ware at the front spot with Jim Berry going in the number 2 position, followed by Tom Winters for 3rd. Now Pat Pierce has pulled off the back straightaway as Buddy Vertrees gets some company. The leader, Ware, takes him down to shoot. Berry for 2nd. Now Tom Winters up to challenge for the 2 spot. Sticks it inside. Little contact with Berry, and Larry Holbert comes to make it a 3-way battle for the number 2 position. Down to shoot with the leader. And they're coming up on Buddy Vertrees, who's just trying to get out of Dodge right now with some damage off that earlier contact. Ware leads him. Berry to challenge. Winters for 3rd, followed by Larry Holbert. And Raymond Johnson comes up to take over the number 5 position. Pat Pierce also in trouble, will limp back to the pits.
So a lot of smoke out of the number 38 Dennis Knowles machine as he came out of turn number 2. Pat Pierce appears to be slowing down as well. The number X44 of Artie Ware leads Jim Berry, Tom Winters, Larry Holbert, and Raymond Johnson. That's the top 5 right now as they move down through the intersection. The field's back into turns 3 and 4. Looks like Danny Blackwell in the X77 pulls down to the infield. Something apparently wrong on the banquet table buffet Oldsmobile, or excuse me, Monte Carlo. Leaders work their way out of turn 2 and down through the intersection. And it looks like 2 more cars have tangled. It's Calvin Crane and I believe the number 86 of Jeff Roberts, the 55 as well, Jack Mann pulling to the back straightaway area. Lead change moving into turns 1 and 2 as they came back to the caution. The 7-lap goes up on the board. The yellow flag comes out, and I tell you what, Jim Berry just kind of out-snookered the X44. Back into turns 1 and 2, and Jim Berry is the leader. The number X44 of Artie Ware moves up along the outside there, but Larry Holbert in the X14 trying to take over the number 1 spot. He and Berry make a little contact out of turn number 2, but Holbert goes out front. Jim Berry comes up to 2nd. A battle for 3rd between Artie Ware and Tom Winters as the field comes out of turn 4. They're down through the intersection. Winters pulls up along the inside of Ware as they move into turns 1 and 2. They'll click off lap number 8, and the field is over to turn number 2. And it looks like the X44 of Artie Ware quickly gets shuffled to the mid part of the field as they move back into turns 3 and 4. Let's set the field for you. Okolona, Kentucky's Larry Holbert in the X14 goes out front. Jim Berry runs at 2nd. Raymond Johnson and Tom Winters race side by side for 3rd as they move into turns 1 and 2. Back into turns 3 and 4 now, and Raymond Johnson in the number 0 takes over the number 3 spot from Tom Winters. Winters at 4th now, and the number 6 of Danny Skaggs runs at 5th. Skaggs trying to pull around Tom Winters as they move into turns 1 and 2. John Basham along with the 42 of Tony Anderson doing some racing, trying to get into the top 5 as well. As they move down through the intersection, Tim Blackwell in the X12 stops at the intersection for the oncoming traffic. Into turns 1 and 2 as they collect lap number 11 now. And it's Larry Holbert, followed by Jim Berry, Raymond Johnson, Tom Winters, and the number X6 of Danny Skaggs. Danny Skaggs dragging a front bumper on his machine, and he could be black flagged and sent back to the pit area. As again the traffic makes their way through the intersection. Jeff Roberts set to go a lap down. And the black flag comes out on Danny Skaggs in the X6. Consultation on the 6 car. Roger Vincent in the X16 slowing at the intersection for the oncoming traffic. Here comes Jim Berry sizing up Larry Holbert for the number 1 spot. They're side by side into turns 1 and 2. Raymond Johnson now looking to the inside of Holbert as they come over to turn 2 and down through the intersection. It's Holbert on the inside, Johnson on the outside. Jim Berry right there in their shadows at 3rd place as they head over to turn 4. Out of turn number 4 and down through the intersection. And Raymond Johnson could have the better track position now going into turns 1 and 2. Holbert whips it right back around on the outside as they move over to turn 2 and down through the intersection. It's Raymond Johnson out front at the intersection. Holbert comes right back on the inside, and they're still side by side. As they move over to turn 4, the 2 cars touch momentarily. And again, look out at the intersection as the number X25 of Lee Mann had thoughts of going through the intersection, then changed his mind, put the brakes on. Pat Pierce also stopping at the intersection as the leaders come right back through again, and Pierce as well as Mann go 1 lap down to the leaders. It's still Larry Holbert out front. Raymond Johnson runs at 2nd, Jim Berry for 3rd. And then Tom Winters comes right back up to the 4th place spot. John Basham goes 5th. At 6th, it's Tony Anderson. And it looks as though Jim Berry has stopped over on the back straightaway. So the field gets strung out around this Louisville Motor Speedway after 16 laps of racing action in the Auto Works Figure 8 25-lap feature. Out of turn 4 and down through the intersection, and Larry Holbert in the X14 still runs out front. Take a look at Bobby Johnson's machine now. The hood is up on his car as he pulls onto the front straightaway, and now a traffic jam develops in the 4th turn area as the leaders move down into turns 3 and 4. Tom Winters climbing from his car in the 4th turn area. And the number 38 of Dennis Knoll there as well. So the caution flag comes out for the altercation over in the 4th turn area between the number 38 of Dennis Knoll and the number 88 of Tom Winters. The leader. Out of turn number 4, the green flag is back out and we're racing. A lot of smoke from Buck Skaggs' car, the X2. And it looks as though the number 59 of Pat Pierce again pulls off on the back straightaway. The X14 of Larry Holbert continues to lead out of turn 4 and down through the intersection. Back into turns 1 and 2. Raymond Johnson in car number 0 runs at 2nd. At 3rd now, the X54 of Tony Conway. Then Calvin Crane runs at 5th. Calvin Crane going inside the top 5 as well. So they continue to circle the speedway. The number 42 of Tony Anderson showing up inside the top 5. And it looks as though the X12 of Timmy Blackwell is forced to stop at the intersection. Down through the intersection and into turns 3 and 4. It has quickly become a 2-car race for the lead. Larry Holbert in the X14 out of turn 4 and down through the intersection. Crosses the start-finish line and back into turns 1 and 2. Raymond Johnson in the number 0 runs at 2nd. After 20 laps of competition, we now have less than 5 laps to go. Larry Holbert, the leader, out of turn 4, and Raymond Johnson. 2 cars stopped at the intersection. That's Lee Mann and Charlie Hartz, who each go 1 lap down to the leaders. They're back into turns 1 and 2. Larry Holbert and Raymond Johnson racing for first and second. Tony Conway and Calvin Crane racing together for third as they move into turns 3 and 4. And now Raymond Johnson slips past the inside of Larry Holbert and takes over the number 1 spot. Holbert now runs at second. Tony Conway still goes third. At fourth, Calvin Crane, and then Tony Anderson in the number 54. "22 laps now completed, and Raymond Johnson finds himself in the same position he was 1 week ago as the leader, crossing through a busy intersection. Buck Skaggs barely slips past in front of Tony Conway. And again, Jim Berry and Raymond Johnson begin getting close at the intersection. Buck Skaggs in the X2 smoking underneath the hood of his car. He's stalled at the intersection. And look out, Raymond Johnson and Jim Berry again getting close at the intersection. A battle for second place now developing between the X54 of Tony Conway and Larry Holbert, as well as Calvin Crane. As they move through the intersection, Jim Berry and Raymond Johnson getting very close at that intersection. And the checkered flag is out, and Raymond Johnson comes away with the victory. Across the line at second, the number 54 of Tony Conway and the number 14 of Larry Holbert. Calvin Crane, a